Welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, and right now we're joined by Washington Post columnist and member of the Seattle Association of Black Journalists, Jerry Brewer.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome to
Glad
the
you could
Morning
join
Update
us.
Show.
Absolutely.
Live at the Paramount, too.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a big deal for me. Like you don't think it is, but this is a huge deal for me. I'm really giddy.
Yeah,
Oh,
good,
awesome.
good stuff, good stuff. So, you live here in Seattle, and it seems like you got a great gig because you're writing your column for the Washington Post.
Yes, I was a sports columnist for the Seattle Times for 9 years, '06 to 2015. Fell in love with Seattle. Got the job offer of a lifetime to go to the Post. So we moved the family to DC for 4 years. Then they gave me an opportunity to be a national sports columnist. Said you can live anywhere you want to. I'm a native. I was born in Tennessee, raised in Kentucky, but I was like, babe, we're going back to Seattle. We're going back to
Wow.
your hometown.
Hey, that says a lot. So, I mean, if you have some other roots here, your wife has some roots here, that's good to hear because it's good to know that we ranked really high on your choices when they say you can live anywhere you want to.
There's just something about this community, once it gets in you, it's a complicated community, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, we're definitely. I like that because we're definitely complicated and beautiful. So
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that.
I'll take that.
I know one of the things we're talking about is Black Voices Matter, the special with Connie Thompson and Jesse Jones. But before we get to that, we'll talk a little bit more about the Seattle Association of Black Journalists, which we're both members of.
Yes, I mean the Seattle Association of Black Journalists. I guess I'll take you back to NABJ, the National Association of Black Journalists. We're a chapter there. NABJ started on December 12th, 1975, with 44 members meeting in DC, and it was ultimately like there aren't many of us in this business. We're all we got. We got. So let's take care of each other. And since then, you're talking about a national organization that's more than 4,000 members strong. For people who've never been to a NABJ summer convention, it's amazing. As a matter of fact, next year it's going to be in Vegas. So finally, we're always like, man, can you move it west? Can you move it west? They're always really hesitant because so many of the members are on the East Coast. But it's an incredible organization. SABJ, we really are just ramping up. And like during the pandemic, like it slowed down a little bit of our momentum. But we've been able to get a lot of things accomplished. But what we want to do more than anything is really make sure that we're reaching out to every journalist, every communicator in the Black community, and just saying, hey, we want you to be a part of us. Like, this isn't about walls. This isn't about who works at the Washington Post, who works at Como, who works at King, who works at the Seattle Times. None of that. Who works at the NPR affiliate here, none, KUOW, none of that. Well, we want to be able to get anyone who is in the business of truth seeking. That is what journalism is. And the methods in which we do that have changed. And it's not always about just the mainstream mass media. So we're very much mindful of the fact that we're missing some people. And we want to make sure that we double back and get everyone on board because we think we're building something that's beautiful. And we also think that we're building something that is inclusive for all journalists and how journalism has changed, especially over the last decade.
Well, I think it's important that you talk about that intentionality. And that was actually one of the questions I was going to have for you when you break down the National Association of Black Journalists and then the Seattle chapter. So do you have to be involved or affiliated with both of them? Or is, for people that are looking to join, do they start with Seattle? Do they start at the national level? How does that work?
Yeah, we'd like you to be involved in both, but there are people who aren't members of the national chapter and don't want to pay the dues there, but then will pay for the local dues. SABJ, it's a $35 membership for the year, $25 for students. You can go to sabjonline.com to get a membership. But we're trying to open that as much as we possibly can, just to make sure people understand that we're here for you.
Yeah, and transitioning to Black Voices Matter here. And actually, you got a picture of SABJ over there, Mr. Director. There we go. There's a few people I see in there. There's Marcus Harrison Green. There's Melissa Hellman. I'm not in there. I got to get in the next class photo.
We need a new picture. You know, we got elections coming up September. We got to take a new picture together.
We got to get
There
a
we
new
go.
photo. So Black voices matter. And these guys, to tell you, is our previous studio. And it was such a big deal because Joyce Taylor was coming to the studio. Joyce Taylor came and interviewed me there in the studio, and man, I'd be like, everything had to be perfect. I mean, I was just so excited. And you got to remember, this is coming off of that summer where I did interviews with everybody, whether it was the BBC, the CBC, you know what I'm saying, the Nightline, like all these big platforms and everything else. It's like, yeah, that's cool. But with Joyce Taylor, the SABJ, it was such a big deal because it was us. You know what I'm saying? It was like us. And so it's a really great experience. And now this year, this is Connie Thompson and Jesse Jones, right?
Yes. Jesse Jones will be interviewing Connie Thompson. That's on August the 14th, Saturday, August the 14th at 2 p.m. We're charging $10 for those tickets. It's kind of a fundraiser for SABJ. Connie, 46 years that she gave to the TV industry in Seattle, the last 35 years as a consumer advocate, which I think is always one of the really cool jobs in television journalism. I mean, you're really solving common people's problems. Just a legend and a real trailblazer, not just for the Black community, but for all journalists in this region. So we wanted to have the opportunity, since she retired in December, to give her flowers, tell her story, and have Jesse Jones, you know, and the connection that he has with Connie and the entire region, have them get in a room and have a conversation. We're so grateful that it's going to be at Converge again. And I mean, you're the first Black Voices Matter event. I mean, he had me in tears at home. You know, I had my 8-year-old was like, "Dad, what's going on?" I was like, "Man, this is just so powerful. The stories that he's telling. I think it's going to be in its own way another powerful event."
Yeah. Well, you know what? When you talk about the power of truth seeking, I think it's important to understand that it comes in so many different formats. So I'm glad to hear you say that. And you know what? That's one of the things that really keeps me going here with Converge too, is that it's so organic in that way of, you know, approaching it from our perspective, but making sure that the truth is at the root of it all.
Yeah, there's a big difference between saying something truthful and telling the truth.
Yeah.
You know, Daddy, I broke the door. Like, well, you told me something truthful. How did you break the door?
Mhm.
Why did you break the door? You know, and I think, you know, especially when we talk about Seattle and the Black community, there are people who are saying truthful things, but are they really telling the truth?
Yeah.
And that's something that, you know, me being a member of just this giant national organization in the Washington Post, we have to be mindful of those blind spots. And I think and I hope that just an investment in community journalism and really shining a light on people who are all about their community, who live in these communities and who tell the truth, that they get appreciated on the same level as some of these other journalists who might win this shiny national award.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You just broke a whole lot down right there in just a few words. Let's go ahead and put this slide up here, Ike. This is Black Voices Matter. Connie Thompson, that's on the 14th. The link is in the comments. Make sure and put that link there in the comments. Look, everybody, we need to support this. Next week. This is all you're gonna hear me talking about. Is talking about supporting this event. It's for a very good cause. And man, to really honor Connie Thompson. And it's crazy when she retired. I remember we were talking about how much representation matters in growing up in this city and seeing these Black people there on TV and knowing that something was possible. And when you talk about Connie Thompson or Essex Porter, Deborah Horn, you know what I'm saying, who've been committed in their career and right here in the Emerald City, and their dedication and them being on screen as, you know, being young, you're like, yo, I could do that. So
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's whenever I brushed up against them at events over the years, and you just see people. I mean, it's hard for them to do their job because of how much they mean to people. I mean, they are real life celebrities when you see them out in the field, and I could just sort of like stand in the background. You know, I'm the word herder with my notebook, doing my thing, but like to see them, it's incredible, and that's just something that is unique to the Seattle community, that we have some of these real legends who have decided that they wanted to like plant roots in this region and not go to LA, not go to New York, not go to those other regions.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time in terms of creativity, and being like a content creator, what it really means to be able to be right here in the city that we grew up in and love so much, and understand that there's so much value in these stories that are normally undertold. So I appreciate you saying that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I mean it. Absolutely.
All right. Jerry Brewer, Washington Post columnist, member of the Seattle Association of Black Journalists. And you can tell he's at the Post, so clearly he's paying the dues to NABJ as well. We ain't got to worry about, what I'm saying, local dues or national dues. Black Voices Matter. That's Saturday the 14th. The link is there in the comments. We want to challenge every single viewer. It's $10. It's for a great cause. It's going to scholarship fund, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's support the youth, next generation of up and coming journalists.